Ancient humans feared death so much, they may have invented the afterlife to survive it. Because once humans became intelligent enough to understand mortality, life changed forever. Suddenly, every child, parent, friend, and partner came with a horrifying realization. One day they would disappear. And archaeologists think the evidence of that fear is still buried underground, inside prehistoric graves filled with flowers, tools, bones, and gifts for the dead. The question is why? Because animals die constantly. A wolf dies, and the pack keeps moving. A deer dies, and nature handles the cleanup crew automatically. Efficient, brutal, simple, humans are completely different. Humans gather around corpses, clean them, dress them, carry them carefully, and spend enormous amounts of energy protecting bodies that can no longer do anything. Ancient humans were somehow even stranger. Some buried people with food, some buried them with weapons, some painted human skulls, some literally kept dead relatives inside their homes. Which sounds insane until you remember modern humans keep ashes in decorative jars beside the television, like emotional home decor. And honestly, the weirdest part is this. Ancient humans didn't even know what death was. No biology, no neuroscience, no concept of organs failing. Imagine seeing death 50,000 years ago. One day somebody is laughing beside a fire. The next day, they're cold and silent, but they still look human. Their face is still there. Their voice is gone. Something invisible seems missing. Even modern people describe death that way, like the person left. That single observation may have created the idea of the soul. Not religion at first, just human pattern recognition colliding directly with existential terror. And once humans started believing something could leave the body, death became much bigger than biology. Archaeologists have discovered graves over 100,000 years old. Some belonged to early Homo sapiens, others belonged to Neanderthals. Yes, Neanderthals, the species people used to portray as hairy idiots losing fistfights against weather. Turns out they were emotionally sophisticated enough to bury their dead. At Shanidar Cave in Iraq, researchers found pollen surrounding a Neanderthal skeleton. Some scientists believe flowers were intentionally placed beside the body. Imagine grieving somebody enough to gather flowers for their funeral while saber-toothed predators still exist outside. That's not primitive behavior. That's heartbreak. And some of the skeletons found in these graves completely changed how scientists viewed ancient humans. Researchers discovered people with severe injuries who somehow survived for years. Crushed bones, missing limbs, blindness, diseases, injuries that should have meant certain death in prehistoric times. But these individuals kept living because somebody cared for them, fed them, protected them, stayed with them. And when they finally died, they were buried carefully. Which means empathy is older than civilization itself. That realization is deeply uncomfortable because people love imagining ancient humans as emotionless survival machines. But humans did not conquer the planet through strength alone. We survived because we became emotionally attached to each other, and death threatened those attachments in a psychologically catastrophic way. Because humans are cursed with a very specific kind of intelligence. A lion fears danger directly in front of it. Humans fear danger decades before it arrives. Your brain can literally ruin a perfectly normal Tuesday by suddenly reminding you that everyone you love will eventually die. Fantastic feature. Incredible evolutionary decision there. Ancient humans had this same awareness, except they faced death constantly. Infections killed people, tiny cuts killed people, childbirth killed people, bad weather killed people, eating the wrong berry probably killed somebody named Grog immediately. Death wasn't rare in prehistoric life. Death was everywhere, and that may explain why humans became obsessed with rituals. Because rituals create the illusion of control. Humans hate chaos. We especially hate chaotic endings. So ancient people created systems around death. Some buried bodies in fetal positions like they were returning to the womb. Others covered corpses in red ochre because it resembled blood and life. Some buried weapons beside warriors. Others buried food beside children. One ancient grave discovered in Russia contained 2 children buried with over 10,000 ivory beads, each bead carved by hand. Imagine the amount of time that took in prehistoric conditions. Humans were investing enormous effort into people who were already gone, which only makes sense if they believed the dead still mattered somehow, and this is where things start becoming genuinely creepy. Because many ancient cultures didn't just respect the dead. They feared them. Some graves appear designed specifically to trap bodies underground. Archaeologists have found skeletons pinned beneath heavy stones, buried face down, or physically restrained. Ancient people often believed the dead could return angry, cursed, or dangerous. which sounds ridiculous now, until you remember ancient humans didn't understand decomposition. Imagine watching a body slowly decay without medical knowledge. The skin darkens, the stomach swells, fluids leak, hair appears longer as skin retracts, animals gather nearby. To prehistoric humans, death probably looked supernatural. Honestly, corpses still disturb modern people, and we actually know what decomposition is. Your brain understands the person is gone, but another part of your mind keeps expecting them to move. Humans are psychologically terrible at processing death. We always have been, and maybe that's because humans are the only species fully aware that death is inevitable. That changes everything. Scientists believe awareness of mortality may have shaped almost every major part of human civilization: religion, art, mythology, legacy, even ambition itself. Because once humans realized life was temporary, people became obsessed with leaving something behind. Stories, families, graves, monuments. Entire empires were built by people desperately trying to feel permanent. Some of the oldest massive structures on Earth were tombs. Think about how insane that is. One of humanity's first giant architectural projects was basically, what if we made the grave really big? The Egyptians built pyramids packed with treasures for the afterlife. Ancient Chinese emperors buried entire armies of clay soldiers beside them. Vikings launched burning funeral ships into the sea. Some ancient cultures cremated bodies to release the spirit. Others buried relatives directly beneath homes so ancestors remained close to the family. Completely different civilizations. Completely different continents. Yet somehow humans everywhere reached the exact same conclusion. Death was too important to ignore. And maybe the strangest part is that humans are not entirely alone. Elephants have been observed touching the bones of dead elephants for hours. Chimpanzees sometimes carry dead infants for days. Crows gather around dead crows in what scientists literally call crow funerals. Even whales have been seen pushing dead calves through the ocean, which suggests grief itself may be ancient, but humans transformed grief into something much bigger. Humans turned grief into religion, into mythology, into entire civilizations, and honestly, modern humans still behave almost exactly like ancient ones. We just use cleaner packaging. We still desperately want to believe people continue somehow after death, because the alternative is psychologically brutal. Imagine fully accepting that one day every person alive right now will disappear forever. Every conversation, every memory, every inside joke, gone. Your brain actively resists thinking about this for too long because humans were never designed to emotionally handle mortality perfectly. That's probably why people distract themselves constantly. Phones, entertainment, work, social media. Your ancestors feared predators outside the cave. Modern humans fear sitting alone with their own thoughts for 10 minutes. Different century, same terrified brain. And maybe that explains why ancient burial rituals matter so much. They reveal the exact moment humans became psychologically different from every other species on Earth. Not because we became smarter, not because we invented tools, but because humans looked directly at death and became aware of their own existence. The moment we realized life ends, civilization truly began. Because once humans understood death, they started searching for meaning. And humans have been searching ever since. Every religion, every philosophy, every empire, every story ever written, all connected in some way to one terrifying realization: we do not stay here forever. And maybe ancient humans understood something modern people try very hard to avoid. That life becomes valuable precisely because it ends. Because if humans lived forever, funerals wouldn't matter. Graves wouldn't matter. Memory wouldn't matter. But mortality gives emotional weight to existence. Ancient humans may not have understood biology, but they understood loss. They understood grief. They understood the terrifying silence left behind when somebody disappears. So they buried their dead carefully, not because it helped them survive, but because love outlived usefulness. And honestly, that may be the most human thing our species has ever done.